Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Boom Boom Review Stuff. And I am back for another television review. And today, I'm going to be reviewing the show Wednesday, streaming currently on Netflix. I'd actually planned on reviewing this video sooner, but this weekend I started watching 1899, also on Netflix, and I got literally and figuratively swept away with the show. So I did my review of that yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? I don't know, in the last 2 days on this channel. It's the most previous video. So if you want to go watch that video, please go check it out if you have watched 1899 already. As in all of my review videos over here in talking about TV shows and movies, this is a spoiler video, so I will be talking about things that happen in the show and spoiling it. So if you haven't seen the show Wednesday, I don't want to ruin it for you. You know, I have to tell you that I don't really have tons to say about this show. Like, I didn't know what to think going into the show. I had actually talked to my best friend about it. My husband and I, well, he had started it, and he really, really liked it. And so, my husband and I, we sat down one night and we watched like 2 episodes of it. And then I lay down and took a little bit of a nap. And when he came to bed, I said, "Did you watch any more of it?" And he said, "Yeah, I watched the next 3 episodes. It's really, really good." And so I was like, oh, okay, like now I'm going to watch this show. Talking to my best friend that night, she was like, "Oh my God, that's my show. I'm like totally in love with it and whatever." What was interesting to me that my best friend loved this show is because she's very much more of like the murder mystery drama or like Firefly Lane. Like those are the kind of shows that she watches. But anyway, what was interesting about the fact that she said she loved the show so much or that it was her kind of show was that for me, it felt very much like, I mean, it's a retelling of the Addams Family from the point of view of Wednesday Addams, and it's fantastically done. It's absolutely fantastically done. But what was interesting to me is that there's very much a teeny bop feeling to it. Like, it is a teeny bop show. Like, it is definitely a show aimed for teenagers and, you know, that age group. But you can watch it as an adult and you don't mind that. Like, you know what I mean? And it's very well done. And I think that one of the things that they do is for those of us, you know, that grew up knowing the Addams Family and all that kind of stuff, it's like it brings certain things back to us, like Christina Ricci, okay, who played Wednesday Addams in the last generation of the whole Addams Family. We are aware of that, right? Well, Christina Ricci plays a pretty prominent role in this. She plays one of the teachers at the academy that Wednesday Addams goes to. So if you haven't watched the show, let me just give you a quick rundown of what it's about. Wednesday Addams, who is the older sister to her younger brother, obviously. What's his name? Pugsley, I think. He's being bullied at the school that they go to, which is just like a normal high school. And so to get revenge on the bullies who are a part of the swim team, she releases bags of piranhas. As a result, she gets, I mean, it's not funny, but I mean, in this world it is, because it's like, it never would happen, right? So she gets expelled. And I think it's like her 6th school that she's been expelled from or something like that. So she ends up having to go to this, basically this boarding school, which is called Nevermore Academy, which is the school that her mother and father went to. And so she goes there and she has no intention of staying. And like right off the bat, she like gets into this riff with the principal or the dean, and who is fantastic. I can't remember what her name is. She's been in Game of Thrones. She's absolutely fantastic. And I read this quote from her because I kept on watching her. I was like, God, she is so amazing looking. She's just so elegant in this show. And she said that in this show was the most beautiful she has ever felt in any like television show or movie, which I thought was interesting. She's fantastic. Everybody in the show is fantastic, and I think that's part of it. The quality of acting combined with the quality of writing in this show. I mean, the writing is just the quick-wittedness of it. It's just, it's unbelievable. And, I mean, Wednesday Addams, like, her just, like, she is so quick-witted in this show. And it's just the writing, you know, it's done so well. So, and Jenna Ortega, who plays Wednesday Addams, is just unbelievable. I mean, and the person that plays her roommate is just unbelievable. Everybody is so good in this show. I will say the only critique for me is that, and I am a huge Catherine Zeta-Jones fan, like I love Catherine Zeta-Jones. I don't know that, and you know, I guess I could look it up. I don't know the guy's name. Apparently he's super famous, and I don't know his name, but the guy that played her father Oh, here it is. It's trending at #1. Okay, right now. So hold on a second. I won't be able to read this without my reading glasses on. Hold on a second. More. Why can't I see this? Okay, Jenna Ortega. Why is it not talking about who? Luis Guzman. Okay, so Luis Guzman and Catherine Zeta-Jones, I think they did a fine job of playing her parents. I don't think that they did a phenomenal job of playing her parents. I thought it was just kind of subpar. I thought it was okay. And I said it to a couple people that I'm friends with that like watch the show as well. And they're like, oh, I love them so much. And I'm like, I don't know. They're such over-the-top characters. I will tell you the one character out of the entire show, like even like, I think Jenna Ortega, who was fantastic in it, and I think she's beautiful and all that. I think she could have been a little bit more over the top as Wednesday Addams. I will tell you the one character that really made the whole show for me, and that was Thing. The Hand, I felt like was even more prominent in this than in anything previous Addams Family, which it's not like I'm an Addams Family expert, but anyway, really loved the role and really loved also the way that they used Thing to kind of like help solve the mystery and all this. So anyway, Wednesday Addams goes to this academy, and as soon as she gets there, she gets thrown into this mystery. She's a mystery writer as well, which I thought was an interesting aspect that they threw into it. It kind of reminded me a little bit of, if you haven't read them, they're young adult books that are called the Truly Devious series, and they're fantastic. And it reminds me very much of this, because there's this teen detective, and her name is Stevie, and she goes to this boarding school, and it's 3 books, and I think 3 or 4, maybe 4 now, in the series, and she solves these murder mysteries that occur at this boarding school. It reminded me of that a little bit. And so, anyway, Wednesday goes to this academy, and right out of the gate, she gets thrown into this murder mystery that's going on there, because in the woods surrounding the area, people are being killed by what they think might be a bear, but what the mayor and the sheriff speculate is something supernatural, and what the sheriff believes is something that is coming from Nevermore Academy. Why? Because Nevermore Academy is a school for people that just don't fit in anywhere else. And by that, what I mean is vampires, werewolves, and anything in between. So, and it's very interesting how the whole school is set up. And somebody's out to try to kill Wednesday, and then she finds out it's this guy, and then he like disappears, and she finds out that the principal is really like a shift changer. There's so much that happens in the show. The other mystery that happens is that she finds out that when her mother and her father were in school there, that her father was accused of killing this guy that was in love with her mother. I thought it was kind of really interesting that they like played this out through the whole course of the whole thing. It was like they had like 3 stories that kind of came together, and at the end they all kind of panned out, and I loved that through that, and her kind of seeing the humanity of her mother in that part, because we find out that her mother was actually the person that killed that she kind of has this empathy for her mother through all of that. I loved that piece of it, you know? And then it's like all of these kids get together, and even the ones that they don't like each other, because she's made it very clear that she's an outsider and she's not going to stay there and all this kind of stuff, right? And so it's like she's against all of them, and then all of them are against the townspeople is kind of how it works. And so, and then it's like this old legacy haunting of this guy that supposedly like burnt her 10th generation Goody Addams relative like at the stake, and so she's coming back, and like anyway, so she has to like get this guy, because we find out that somebody is trying to bring back, I can't even think of this, crack out, whatever his name was, guy back, so that he can, you know, like for once and for all, rid the world of all of these supposed like weird people at Nevermore Academy. And we find out it's Christina Ricci. I knew it was Christina Ricci, had something to do with this from the beginning. I knew they wouldn't throw Christina Ricci into this series without her having some major part in it. And I knew that. I said it to my friend, she's like, you didn't know that? I said, Tanya Jean, yes I did. I knew Christina Ricci. She goes, no, you said she was the monster. I said I knew she had something to do with it. But anyway, we find out the sheriff's son is actually the monster, and that Christina Ricci has been controlling him all this time. So anyway, then it ends at the very end. Her roommate, she ends up becoming, she's the whole time, she's like not coming to her own. It's very sweet as being a werewolf. And so finally at the very end, she becomes a werewolf. She takes down the monster. And then she comes out of the woods and everybody hugs, and Wednesday Addams, who is never a hugger, she like hugs her like real big, and yeah, I ugly cried. I always ugly cry in these shows. I don't know why, but I do. I ugly cried and I was so excited. And then at the very end, they pan to, what do you call it? Wednesday Addams, like in her room, and they've shut down the school for a semester. Oh, because the principal got killed by Christina Ricci. And so the school's being closed, and because of all the murder, obviously, the school's being closed down for a semester, and then they're going to come back. And so Christina Ricci is writing her book before she leaves to go with her ride to go take her away. And she says something, the end, and then it goes ... like maybe, or something like that. I think it says something like that. So it makes you think there's going to be a season 2 to this. I'm absolutely positive there will be a season 2 to this. I mean, everybody is loving this show. Everybody is talking about this show. It's fantastically done. I can think of 50 different ways, 100 different ways they could go with this. I mean, all they have to do is really come up with like another like mystery. And it was just, I don't know, it's so inventive and different. You know, I have to say, as somebody that watches a lot of remakes of horror movies and a lot of remakes of old movies or retellings, and you know, as somebody that has read like so many like especially young adult books and like covering them on my booktube channel, where they're like retellings of Snow White or retellings of this or retellings of, you know, any kind of like whatever, it's very interesting that it wasn't really necessarily, I guess, a retelling. It was just kind of like a modern day version of the Addams Family. But the way that it was done was just with such perfection. I thought that it just was so fun and delightful to watch, and I absolutely loved it. I binge watched straight through, and I highly, highly recommend it. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.